and they have a president who continues to deny the existence of the Holocaust or that the Holocaust ever happened, and continues to state his country's, his nation's policy to, quote, wipe Israel off the map. That's his statement. So it's a real threat in the region, and it's a threat for many reasons. I believe that working together in what I call a League of Democracies, the French, the British, the Germans, other countries that control so much of the economic power of the world, that we could put meaningful trade, economic, diplomatic, and other sanctions on the Iranians which could modify their behavior. Now, I'm told that there's 2 major European financial institutions that are extending unlimited lines of credit to the Iranians. Their economy is terrible because they got a terrible government. They are having to import gasoline, as you know, because of their lack of refining capability. They continue to provoke. As you notice, there was a couple of boats that came out in the Persian Gulf the other day. There was a provocation of our Navy ships a short time ago. So I believe we can have a significant impact, and the reason why I say that about a, quote, League of Democracies, because it's very clear the Russians will continue to block meaningful action in the Security Council. And by the way, in case you missed it, we now have a pro-American president of France, which shows if you live long enough, anything can happen. So I believe there are a lot of avenues, very important avenues that we can pursue which can modify Iranian behavior. But I also think that at the end of the day, we cannot allow the Iranians to acquire nuclear weapons. And by the way, one other effect of that would be literally every nation in the region would feel compelled to acquire nuclear weapons themselves. And that obviously would contribute enormously to an already very unstable part of the world, to the tensions and challenges there. Yes. Yes, sir. And I'll go right to you, sir.
I'm not going to call you Senator McCain because I think we should get used to President McCain. So, President McCain, look, you're in the Jewish Community Center. We're closer to God here. My name is Rich Sokol. I'm 42 years old, and I have a special needs sibling. Knowing what I do now, I believe my brother is autistic. And I want to try and tie in healthcare to our spending priorities as a nation. So here in Colorado, as in many other states, we have a waiting list for kids who are autistic kids and their families waiting to receive services that runs many years, so that when the kids finally get off the waiting list, they'll be too old to receive the services for which they were waiting. And this just doesn't happen in Colorado, it's in every state. And so when you talk about the bridge to nowhere and the tens of millions of dollars that was spent on this ridiculous work project, I don't see a bridge, but I see thousands of families with autistic kids who aren't getting the services that they need because we wasted the money on other ridiculous pet projects. So my question is this: we clearly need to reprioritize our spending as a nation. I'd like to know how you as president would prioritize our national spending. And also, how do we get the Congress to rethink how we spend money so that we don't just spend money on whatever we spent last year, plus 3%, truly help the people we need and stop wasteful spending?
First of all, let me say that our hearts go out to you and the families, as well as the children that are afflicted with this terrible thing. That is tragically on the rise in this nation. And I think our first priority, and I think you would agree with that, is find out what is causing the increase in autism in America today. There is a cause. Now, some apparently families, and I've met with a lot of families, say that it was in the vaccine. Other scientific opinions say that's absolutely not true. But we've got to put a brake on the increasing incidence of autism in America, and that is an undisputable fact. I think you would agree with this. So first of all, I think our highest priority has got to be to find out what's causing this increase. Also, then I think that we need to understand that this will place a very dramatically increased burden on the special education programs and the federal government's responsibility. I believe that the majority of the responsibility for funding of education, very appropriately in America, comes from the state, local, communities, counties, cities, etc., not from the federal government. But having said that, it is a federal responsibility, special education programs, and we are seeing, obviously, an increase in those requirements. So I would fully fund special education programs, but I would also make sure that teachers do not just put discipline problems into those programs, that they will, what we use to screen those that are eligible is probably a little more conscientious. Having said that,